This is the School Success Podcast, a podcast for school leaders to learn from other school leaders what's working and what's not, and to get inspiration and encouragement, as well as strategies to grow school enrollment, connect with families, retain teachers, recruit teachers, and everything in between. You guys are heroes, and I cannot thank you enough for pouring into this next generation that's coming behind us. My goal is you will take at least one thing away from every episode that you can take back to your school to make it better than it is right now. Please enjoy the School Success Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Herzog Foundation.
Time for school.
Hey, School Success Makers. Welcome to another edition of the School Success Podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Slater, joined by a new friend out of the great state of Indiana. We got Lance Davids, who is the head of school of 𝑒𝑙𝑎𝑛𝑐𝑒 Christian High School in Dyer, Indiana. Got connected with him a little over a month ago and love what he's doing with his school there in Indiana. And we have a lot we're going to jump into today and try and get through in this next half hour or so. So strap up and get ready. We're going to learn a lot and have some fun as always. But before we jump into all those things, I, of course, always pass it off to our guests to introduce themselves. So Lance, welcome to the podcast today, sir.
It's great to be on here with you. Excited to share some ideas.
Awesome. We're going to have a blast. And now you get the same question everybody gets before we start off. And it's this: if I was to visit you in Dyer, Indiana, which I've never been to before, what would you say, Mitchell? You got to eat this and do this to experience Dyer, Indiana.
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, as much as I love Dyer, I wouldn't recommend loving to eat there. I would probably shift you a town over or so to Crown Point, Indiana, where I live. There's an old square, Main Street. It like harkens back to years and years, like where John Dillinger was arrested. And there's a lot of great restaurants around the square there. Provecho is one of my favorites. That's a place I would highly recommend going to.
Okay, perfect. And then what am I going to do?
Yeah, I'll probably take you golfing.
Okay, good golf courses in Indiana, huh?
Yes. And we're right on the border. We're probably less than a mile away from the border of Illinois. So we're not far from the city of Chicago. So it's a lot of fun things to do in the city of Chicago, too.
Oh, awesome. Well, I know you and I talked about this before we started recording. We're on the Chicago train of, hey, if they open up the new stadium in Indiana, that'd be awesome. So as we record this, they haven't announced officially what they want to do. But I think they did say, because this will air in a couple months, I think they announced that they are going to make a decision probably in the next, was it a month that they said they would let us know? Is that true? Or am I like, remembering right?
They had another interview a couple of days ago that said late spring, early summer, they'll let us all know. So.
Okay. So this will probably air after probably most likely this will air after that. So as you guys are listening to this, I know everybody's like, we don't care, Mitchell, but Chicago Bears fans here, I'm really curious where our stadium's going to be if we end up building this new state-of-the-art facility and all that. So we're excited.
Yep. Go Bears.
All right. There go Bears. All right. Now as we jump into school content, give us everybody a little bit of background on you and your school. And then, of course, I have some specific questions for you for today.
Yeah, that's great. I've been the head of school here at 𝑒𝑙𝑎𝑛𝑐𝑒 Christian for the last 5 years. I've been at the school for 28, ever since I graduated. 𝑒𝑙𝑎𝑛𝑐𝑒 has been around for 80 years. The first 72, we were in the state of Illinois. 8 years ago, we made a big decision to move and move states. I think we're one of the only schools to ever do that, and build a brand new campus. And we started with a $25 million building, and we've been adding on to it over the last 8 years as our growth has happened. I've worked my way through almost every job here, as a teacher, as an athletic director, vision director, advancement director, and I always say sometimes if you stay somewhere long enough, they put you in charge after a while.
You guys have been doing a lot. Well, here's the thing that comes to mind first and foremost I want to talk on is moving from one state to another. That probably blows some people's minds as they're hearing that, being like, well, I've heard some schools, they outgrow their facility and they need to just move, to another area of the city close by, buy some land and build it, or buy an old church or something like that. You guys legit move states. And now, obviously, you talk about being a mile from the border, so it's not like we're talking crazy here. But how far actually was that move for you guys from point A to point B?
It was a 10-mile move, and it was a very difficult thing for our community. Whenever you have an institution that's been in one place for 72 years, to uproot and move, it was very difficult. We had to do a lot of meetings, a lot of conversations. to get community buy-in. And at the end of it, there was still some hurt over it, and we've been working really hard to mend those wounds. But if you look back on that move, I think everyone would argue it was the right move at the right time. Our constituency had moved. We needed a new building. It was falling apart. And now we're in a state that is very pro private schools with vouchers, and it's a whole lot of benefits that have really helped our growth over those last 8 years.
Man, that's awesome. And it's funny you say the thing about the vouchers, because I was talking with a school last year. I don't know if it came up in the podcast episode, but it was a head of school at a school right across the border, but in Illinois. And literally he said, I can see the border of Indiana from the school. They're right out, the road kind of separates the border. Mm-hmm. And he said that there was no voucher option for them. And they lost a ton of families that lived in Indiana, but paid to go to the school. And they're like, well, we're just going to go to this other Christian school in Indiana because we can use our voucher. And literally they lost a ton of students from it. And, I don't see Illinois doing anything with vouchers anytime soon. So that is a huge, think about that. When you guys moved, there wasn't a voucher program, obviously, for Indiana. So you kind of I'm assuming it wasn't around 8 years ago for that when you guys moved into the Indiana. So
it was, but it was very limited, and it was really limited to people who really struggled financially. And they have just exploded. Actually, next year, everybody who has a kid in Indiana gets it regardless of income. And so it's just gone in those 8 years from very few to everybody is able to get it now.
That's awesome. Well, let me ask you this one more thing on the move. What you mentioned the building falling apart and hey, we need to do this. Why Indiana? Why not another part of Illinois? Or hey, let's just patch up the building we're in and make it work because we've been here for 70 years. All that. Why the move to Indiana? And then what was that transition like? Because I'm assuming there's families that left, there's donors that potentially left. What was the pushback that you guys ended up getting?
Yeah, I think the move to Indiana was first precipitated by, as our constituency moved, there was majority of them in Indiana. So you want to put the school where a vast majority of your people who are going to the school and supporting your school are. They weren't moving into Illinois, they were moving to Indiana. And our old building was just old and tired. It was on an 8-acre property that was landlocked. So there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity to remodel it for 21st century learning. And now we're sitting on 40 acres and you built on a cornfield and you were able just to have a 21st century learning building that actually focuses on the things that we value and care about, like community and focusing on kids and what they need. The old building was classrooms and hallways, and our new one has a lot of community spaces. We have coffee shops. We have areas for kids to hang out in, and they do hang out. And that's important to us. So we're able to create a building that I think maximizes our education, but also maximizes our vision for each kid, that they're known, valued, and loved. And that's important to us. A building's a building, but it needs to help you achieve your mission.
Yeah. Love it. Well, congrats on the move. Glad it's going well. I know you guys are, you're growing. It's crazy to think you built this building and you're adding on to it just shortly after moving into the new facility. So, and you got plenty of room to do so, it sounds like. So it's awesome. Well, with all of that transitioning to a new school and growing, student and staff culture is something I know that is near and dear to most schools' hearts, but some of them fumble that and don't do really well with it. And some do really, really well with it. And so you guys, it sounds like, have done really well. What are some things you guys have done with all of this to aid in the student and staff culture at the school?
Yeah, I think it's the first thing you need to do is you have to value it. If you don't value it, it's not going to happen. And by that, you got to be intentional. And I think I told you before, there's a great quote from one of the coaches I used to like. I think he said, you achieve what you emphasize. And a lot of people like the idea of doing things, but don't like the reality of what it takes to accomplish those things. So I think every administrator would say we value staff culture, but they don't value it enough to do all the little things and spend the time and money on it. So I think that's the first thing you need to do. You just need to value it and achieve and then emphasize it. And you're not going to have a great classroom experience if you don't have healthy teachers. So I think it starts by taking care of your faculty and staff, empowering them, encouraging them, giving them the tools they need to be successful. And in turn, they're going to build that same culture in their classrooms.
Hey, school success makers, Mitchell here. I just want to take a really quick break from the show to give a big, huge shout out to the Herzog Foundation. I absolutely love the Herzog Foundation. I've been friends and partners with them for a couple years now, but we're bringing it to a whole new level. And I'm excited to share that our very own School Success podcast is now featured on the Herzog Foundation Podcast Network. The Herzog Foundation is a powerhouse of resources designed to support schools like yours, from free training events through the Herzog Foundation Institute to their incredible online news publication, The Lion, and of course, our new podcast, Home. They have everything you need to stay informed and inspired. And if you're dreaming of starting your own Christian school or co-op, don't miss their online course, Schoolbox. It's a fantastic resource to help you get started on the right foot. At School Success, we're proud to partner with the Herzog Foundation to bring you these valuable tools and insights. So visit herzogfoundation.com to explore all they have to offer. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on these amazing opportunities for growth and success. And I love all the people over there, and I know you guys will too. So please go check them out, and you won't be disappointed. Now, back to the show. Was this something that you guys feel like you did well when you were in Illinois and you carried it over to Indiana, or is it something you feel like you really needed to improve on, and this is a recent thing you guys have really developed and done well with?
I think we really started focusing on it about 6 years ago. And I think COVID was one of the things that really focused on that, because that was a tipping point for a lot of teachers where they were thrust into a whole new way of teaching and learning. And we needed to really take care of them and encourage them. And then a lot of teachers left. They didn't leave. A lot of them didn't leave ours, but a lot of them were leaving the profession. And if you're in a teacher shortage, one of the best things you can do is make sure you don't lose any. And then you don't have to hire as many. So that was our focus starting probably the last 6 years of really focusing on staff culture.
Love it. Well, you've done some cool things at the school. I think I'll make sure I don't butcher this first one with the name, because I think you call it FARCH. I think is what it's called. Tell me some of these things you guys are doing that are just unique to your school that have helped with culture, but also just help with morale in the school as well.
Yeah, I try to do a lot of monthly things, whether it's I have health challenges every month. I try and take our staff out every month on a Friday. But there's always a time of the year I think is hardest for teachers is that time between the middle of February after the holidays and spring break, which for us is the first week of April. So it's the middle of February and March. So we called it FARCH. So what we did is kind of named it. And once you named it, you can actually do something with it. So every week during FARCH, we would do something different for our faculty and staff. And so we did things like I just took them out one Friday. We did ice cream cakes one Friday. We brought them lunch. We've done stuff like we call a woot woot wagon, which I have a couple staff members that go around sixth and seventh period and they blow the little train horn and they stop at classrooms and they get to grab snacks. And there's also gift cards they can pull out for things. We did a March Madness tournament with them, and they got the winner actually was able to get like interesting teacher money. So they really enjoyed it, and it gave them something to focus on and a little encouragement during some of the harder weeks of the year to teach.
I like it. What about these health challenges? What are some things you guys are doing with that? Is that for students? Is that for staff? What does that look like?
That's for staff, and they're not mandatory, but we do them every month, and we mix it up. And again, we want to encourage our faculty and staff to be healthy people. Healthy teachers are going to be better teachers. And it's easier when you have people doing it with you. A community working together is way more powerful than doing it on your own. So they're not all that hard, but like one will do something with drinking water. You have to drink a certain amount of water every day. We did one where you have no sugar for a month, and that one is a little more challenging. We did one early in the year where I encouraged them to train for a half marathon, and I had about 16 staff run a half marathon with me in the fall. We're doing health bingo right now in April, and we have 16 different things, and they have to do them. And at the end of the week, we pull a bunch of them in a row, and if they get 4 in a row, they get a bingo, and they get their name in a hat for prizes. Okay. So just little things every month to encourage them to stay healthy.
Now, I love all this. I can see already, one, it's exciting, it's fun, it'll build up morale, but also I see a ton of a time commitment on this to even like think of the ideas, set it up, manage it. Is that you that's doing that? Or do you have somebody in the school that's like, hey, I'm going to head up the monthly health challenges and all these things that you're doing?
Yeah, I have a staff in kind of my office. We call it the advancement staff. They really help me out, and we sit down in the summer and put together the lists for the year, um, and then they execute the stuff.
Okay.
Farts came out in the middle of. I read somewhere someone else. I don't even know where it came from. Had ideas like this. So then something we just make up when we feel like doing it. But they do a lot of the legwork of it. They're great.
And total staff you guys have right now, how many staff?
74.
74. So yeah, it's almost, I mean, 25% run a half marathon. I feel like that's pretty good for something like that. It's pretty substantial to say, to have them all do that. What's the number of buy-in typically when you do these health things? Do you get 50% of people doing some of these, or not that many?
It varies based on how hard the challenge is. Like you'll get more when it's just drinking water. But if there no sugar, that one has waned sometimes because that's a hard challenge to try and go without sugar for a month. But it really depends on the challenge.
Here's what I love about this though, is it's if you were to say, hey guys, we're going to do this no sugar thing, it's for a whole year. You get nobody that's going to effectively do it. So having something every month to go, oh, man, I don't know if I can do one this month. I got a lot going on or going on vacation. So I'm going to want to be able to eat what I want. I'll do the next one. And I like that there's a continual new one that they could try and do. That I think that's your winner when it comes to setting this up, so people don't feel like they're just like New Year's resolutions. We set it up, you fail, January 2nd, you're like, oh man, I'll try it next year. I love that you space it out per month. That's a great idea. So looking at some of these other things, you guys do something with homeroom. Tell me a little bit what you guys are doing with homeroom at the school.
Homeroom is the first 15 minutes of every day. And it's a time where we do devotions, any announcements during the day, but there's always probably a good 5 to 10 minutes where the sole purpose of it is for the teacher and those students to get to know each other, to build community. And every teacher does it a little differently. Some are really, really good and invested in that. Some don't do it quite as well, but that's one of the uniquenesses of it. And they get those as freshmen, and they stay with that same group for 4 years. And then we have a day a year called Go Day, which is kind of where you serve in the community. They do that together. They sit in chapels together. They sit in what we call our Viking games, because we're the Vikings, which is on homecoming, and they participate together and cheer together. And as seniors, they go on class trip together in those groups, and they stay in those groups a lot. And just the life that's grown in those over 4 years is really amazing. And it's kind of their team that they have. As the school gets bigger, we're going to be a little over 700 kids next year. That group of 15 to 20 gets pretty tight. And we love that because then every kid has somebody. You have somebody who knows your name. You have somebody you have that connection with. And like I go back to that, the whole goal of those is that those kids are known, valued, and loved. And that's the teacher's responsibility to really pour into those kids over 4 years.
Is that very similar to like a house system then, how you guys are setting that up?
A little bit. It's probably not quite as in-depth as that, but it's 15 minutes a day where there's no curriculum. There's nothing you have to get through. And it's nice. So teachers can just get to know kids, and they'll pray with them. They'll ask them how they're doing. And it's amazing. Sometimes we have a lot of kids who will come back from those homerooms just to see those teachers. And I think I mentioned this too. We do a lot of weddings. I've done a lot of weddings of former students as a pastor, and you'll see those homeroom kids and that teacher sometimes at those weddings of those kids. It's fun.
I love that. And I love that's intentional, because we all know as bigger the schools get, kids can kind of hide. I mean, you can get in there and you kind of just go through the motions and not really have them know you, value you, love you, because you can kind of just get away. Same with churches. I mean, you can do the same thing in big churches. Just kind of go in, nobody knows you're there. You leave, you're like, cool, I did my thing, went to church, checked the box. So I love that it's intentional and it's small enough, because I feel like the miss here that you could do is make it, well, we're going to do 7 houses. We're going to do 100 in this one, and then 100. And kids could also then jump into the same thing. And so keeping it 15 to 20, I love that, because it's keeping it small on purpose. How do you decide, though, what students go into which one of these? Like at the start of the year, do you have it all mapped out on an Excel spreadsheet of like, hey, some new students, you're going to go into this one, this one, this one? How does that work?
Yeah, we do that before freshman year, because that's when we assign these and they stay with the same ones. And we're really intentional, because we have probably 2 really big partner schools and a couple other smaller ones. And we really want to break up some of those kids. so you don't have one homeroom that already has 12 kids that went to one of those schools. So we try and split them up so that we're intentional about making sure they get to meet new people as well. And we're intentional on putting certain people with teachers who maybe these are some newer kids that we know are not from the system. This teacher is really, really good at running a homeroom and getting them included. So we're really intentional over the summer about putting kids where they need to be.
Is there any, we're NFL fans here. Is there any time you can like trade a kid? Be like, man, I'm going to trade it for that better kid over there. And then, you do some swaps with teachers. Is there anything happening in there?
No, we do not let teachers trade.
It's like, I make a really good deal. I'll do your health challenge. I will drink all the water you need to drink for the health challenge if you give me toner.
I'm sure some have tried. But no.
Good. I'm glad. Well, I know you guys are also big on fundraising. I think there's some, insight you have into the fundraising world, which of course schools need money. Yeah. You guys, whether they, you like it or not, you have to function like a business. You got money coming in, you got money going out, you got to pay the bills. And so what are some of the things you guys have done in the fundraising world that have been winners for you guys?
A big part of my role as head of school is I'm the chief advancement officer for the school. So I've been involved in the fundraising from the original $25 million, and then we've put another $15 million edition. We just finished a $16 million edition, and now we're breaking ground in 2 weeks on another $9 million edition. And that doesn't include all the fields and football fields, which added up to about 5 or 6 million. So there's been a lot to keep up with the growth. And those connections you build with not only the community in general, but your I call them your stakeholders. I don't even love calling them donors because that pigeonholes them into somebody who gives you money. And building strong relationships with people is what it's all about. And if they are people who support us don't just do it for the bricks and mortar. Like I think I mentioned to you, one of the things they do like that actually helps our staff culture. So I have a program called Interesting Teachers Make Interesting People. And each teacher can get $3,000 to go do something that makes them interesting. So I've had people go to Europe. I've had people go to Hawaii to study volcanoes and do the Shakespeare tour. And the life that gives our teachers has been just game changing to give them encouragement. But that comes from the relationships you've built with people who are supporting the school. So it all intertwines really, really well. But you have to build strong relationships and have a compelling vision and care about people who support your school.
Tell me a little bit about this, because I have a lot of questions in this fundraising one here. Tell me about the $3,000 piece. Does every teacher get that every year? It's a rotational? How do you decide who gets it? What can they use it for? Let's talk about this one real quick.
Yeah, you get it once for now. And then once everyone uses it, then we'll probably do another round of it. But they have to present an idea to me, and it's just something that's going to make them what they consider make them interesting. And then they can spend it. We pay for them. We don't pay for their spouse or anything like that. A spouse could go, but they got to pay for that. And they can do whatever they want. And then they come back and they have to give a presentation to the faculty or staff about how it made them interesting. And it's just one of those things where when we first did it, the teachers had such a hard time picking something because it was like, they had a hard time, but who's giving me this gift? It was really a struggle for them. But once the ball got rolling, I've never seen some of my teachers who have been here 30, 40 years just literally weeping that someone would do this for them. And they were able to do something that they would not have been able to do on their own. And it's become some of the favorite things at faculty meetings. We'd probably do a presentation or two every faculty meeting. And the teachers love it because they see the excitement, the encouragement, almost like little kids again. And the biggest problem I have with it, I tell them 2 to 3 minutes, and none of them stick to that timeline. They just want to talk about it. But it's just been a blessing, but it's all by people who are supporters of the school, and the supporters of the school love it as well. They love being able to bless the people who are able to bless the kids.
Is this specifically a donor that says, I want to give money just for this, and then that's what they're giving, or is it you're collectively collecting stuff to do this program from donors?
This one's a single donor, but it was one of those things where we had the idea a while ago, you presented it, they loved it, and then our teachers are so grateful. They write thank you notes. And it's just become a really fun thing that directly impacts the classroom. Because those teachers are healthy, they're fun, they're going to be better teachers, which means our students are going to learn more, and it all works together.
Hey, I just want to take a really quick break from the podcast to highlight one of our amazing partners and sponsors, ClassReach. If you're a new school administrator or founder and are struggling to keep up with all the hassles of planting a new school, like collecting tuition, communicating with parents, or handling student data, then you need ClassReach. ClassReach is the all-in-one software that helps with everything from admissions and tuition to classroom management and parent communications. Sign up for a free consultation with one of their school specialists and see how ClassReach can help your school grow today. You guys can check them out online, classreach.com. They are a kingdom-minded company, and I love their leadership team there. I've become friends with a lot of them. They truly are a great company. I support them, and I love them, and you guys will love them too. Check them out at classreach.com. Now, back to the show. And you have 70 staff, so $3,000, around $2 to $250,000 or so donated. To do this one time, everybody gets it, or you, and once you're done with all 70, is he like this person potentially willing to go, let's do it one more time now that everybody's gone through it, or no?
We haven't fully gotten to that point yet. We're just enjoying it, blessing the people right now and hearing the stories.
Okay. I love this one. So I know everybody's like, oh, I want one of those. I want that too. So give me 3 stories of people of what they've done. You kind of mentioned like Hawaii and stuff like that, but give me like 3 cool ones that people have taken that money and done with that were memorable.
Yeah, I mean, I remember one of my English teachers went on the Shakespeare trip, and that was just for someone who taught Shakespeare their whole life to be able to do the walk, and a very veteran teacher, a phenomenal teacher, someone who's blessed the school for years, to be able to see that and see how much he appreciated it was just really moving. And then you had ones where I had one teacher who I forget the name of it, walked some path in Europe in the Alps. And just to be able to see that was really cool. And I had a teacher go to Machu Picchu and just share the story of that, and then able to bring that to classrooms. But then you had someone who just like took a cooking class, but it was like in New York, but the joy that this person had over cooking made every teacher excited for them because they were passionate about it. And that was fun to see. To see their passions come out is really the exciting part of it.
And I don't know if this is with everybody. I know this is how I am. If somebody is passionate about something, I'm naturally going to be like bought in with like what they're talking about. And I could hate that thing, but they'd be like, man, let me tell you about why I love eating seaweed, because seaweed, blah, blah, and I'll be like, I don't know, but let me hear you out on it. You know, and I'll get, wow, they're passionate about this. This is exciting. I'm one of those people. So I know if they talk about cooking, I'd be like, wow, I'm learning a lot from this person. Yep. So I feel like morale, this has helped, I'm assuming, really helped boost morale. People are having fun. So I love that. With the donor piece, because this is what I've worked with more and more schools in this, you know, I feel like they've had more success when they've come up with a vision and then found somebody to sponsor it and buy into it. Is that what this was like? You guys initially had the idea, but you knew you couldn't do it unless you had a donor or somebody, you know, buy into it. So how is that what happened? And how did you find somebody to do that? Did you start just mention it to the people that you were building relationships with, and somebody said, I'll do that?
Yeah. And is anything in fundraising, vision precedes any sort of fundraising. I think a lot of schools make the mistake, like, because most Christian schools are supported by people, you kind of get into this habit of, well, they're supposed to support us. No, they're that's not how this works. You have to have a clear, compelling, exciting vision for something first. And you got to be able to express that vision. And that starts anything. So before any capital campaigns, before even little asks like this, if there's not a clear vision behind it, it's probably not going to go anywhere. Now, we'll have some people who are going to support the school regardless, because they're just amazing, amazing people. But if you want significant money, if you want unique things, you have to have a compelling vision about how, and in the end of the day, about how it impacts kids or people. I think that's what most people care about. They don't care about bricks. Bricks don't change the lives of people. Teachers change the lives of people, and kids are what we're here for. We're in the kid business.
Yeah. And they don't want to be felt like a vending machine where they're like, oh, here they come asking for money again. No. Here they come for this. Like, no, obviously nobody wants to be treated like that. So making sure they're thanked well, they're loved well, they're appreciated, and letting them know, here's what your money did. I think that's one of the biggest misses I've seen schools do, is like, they'll get a check, and it could be maybe a smaller donation too, but they're not telling them what the money went to. I know for me, if like somebody comes and asks for money, if they're just saying, hey, we're raising money for the general fund, you're like, that's like not as exciting. But if they're like, hey, the kids are going on a field trip to DC to check out the nation's capital and we need $5,000 to make it happen, I'm way more willing to give and give more because it's so specific and I'm excited for them to experience that than a general fund. But then obviously if they go on that trip and they say to me later in an email or a note, they're like, hey, Mr. Slater, thank you so much. Here's what we did with it. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm way bought in now because you actually did what you said you were going to do. So, and it sounds like you guys are doing very, very well with that because you have a team that's helping with that. Because are you writing the thank you cards, or you have a team that's doing the thank you cards or thank you calls? Like, what does that look like for your team to make sure people are thanked?
Yeah, we have a team of probably 3 people who work on it. And so we'll do little things that everyone gets thanked. So maybe it's a cake pop was one of the ones we did. So if, they're driving around delivering cake pops just to say thank you. Sometimes it's a magnet of something. And then obviously if you're supporting at a higher level, there's different ways of thanking them with dinners or just encouraging them different ways just to make sure that they know it's appreciated. And sometimes just the random phone call that has nothing to do with anything is just, you know what, I was thinking about you today. I saw this happening and I just want to appreciate it. Thank you for what you guys have done. This doesn't happen without you. The more you can have a spirit of gratitude when it comes to all that people have done for you is so important. And I think sometimes schools, churches aren't great at that. And a tax receipt is not a thank you note. That's very important for people to know.
Yeah, no, it's so true. One thing I've been doing, excuse me, that I feel like is hit different when I send people things is instead of typing up a happy birthday, text or even an email or anything, I make a video, really quick video, like a minute on my phone. Obviously it takes less time than typing up a birthday, whatever, or anniversary gift. And I say, hey, so-and-so, man, I just want to let you know, I'm thinking of you. Happy birthday. Hope you do something awesome. I love you. Appreciate your friendship. My favorite story with you is, just something like that. You text it and it's under a minute, but it's something they could use for years to come, look at and be like, man, I remember when Mitchell sent me this video text, because I know it had to be Mitchell, even in the world of AI. I know it's changing that maybe a little bit, but like Mitchell sent that to me. He took the time to send that. And the text could have been, just typed up real quick by somebody else or whatever. And so I don't know if that's going to get to the point where schools start doing that, because I think that's special to go, wow, they actually did that. That wasn't like a company that made the thank you card and sent it out. It was actually them. And I don't know if anybody's doing that yet, but I use that for like kind of all my well wishes to people. I just do a quick video and send it to them. I usually try and include my kids in it too, just for fun, make it like even more like, oh, like look at the kids. Have you, out of curiosity, ever tried anything like that from the school side? And do you feel like that would be received well or not the same? Like it needs to be on almost like a more professional level of a card when you say thank you to people?
No, I think that kind of stuff is great. I mean, we were doing something just the other day that I sent to a few people where our auditorium, which we were raising money for, is going to be open in about 2 weeks from right now. And the seats finally got in and they were playing music. So the sound for the first time. So I took a little video of the sound to a song and just sent it to a couple people thanking them. It's little things like that, like they get to hear and see with thank you.
That's awesome. Good. Well, you have one final story that I want to hear from you before I ask you another final question. And it's something about your wife and gift cards. There's something you had shared that I want to hear about. What is this story?
Yeah, she's really good at that. She's an optometrist. And 1 year she gave like 10 gift cards to random patients. Not one, they didn't come back and really thank her. So then the next year, I think she gave 5 gift cards to surgeons, so a little more money. And all 5 of them thanked her, took us out for dinner. One of them offered her a job. And I'll never forget one of them just saying, looking her in the eye and saying, you know what, I just want to let you know that nobody's done that for me in a very long time. And it really stuck with me about how we need to make sure that regardless of how much money you make, that we are being grateful to people. And it really stuck with me about just because some people may have a little more capacity doesn't mean that a gift card or a thank you or a bottle of wine doesn't matter, because it does.
And it's the heart behind it. Like you saw me, you took the time for this. This is my wife, so we talk about love languages. Her number one love language is gifts, which is in my opinion, one of the hardest ones to like actually, in my opinion, okay, because I've been trying to do this for years now, over a decade, because my wife isn't just like, oh, don't just buy me something, just don't just buy me something to buy me something. That's not what she's talking about. Maybe some people are that way. She wants me to know that I know her, that I know what she likes, I know what she's into, I know what she's looking at. And so buying gifts is actually really difficult because it's like, man, I got to really pay attention, which I guess I just got to get better at paying attention. But she'll be like, oh, you saw that I was watching that TV show the other day and you looked up something about that TV show, saw that maybe a movie was coming out and bought me movie tickets to go watch the movie. Like that's the type of stuff she wants. Like I was watching and paid attention to what she likes. And that means the world to me. It could be it could be $5, whatever the thing is. It's not the money, it is the thought behind it. And I feel like that's kind of what this comes into, of like going, do these people actually appreciate me and know me? It could just be a card that means no money whatsoever, but man, Lance noticed me and he noticed what I was doing for them, and he just wanted to make sure he thanked me. That's why like these videos or a text can do wonders, because people are like, oh, they actually did care and know about what I was doing. And that's kind of what I see about you with your wife doing that. These guys are like, nobody ever thanks me for doing this thing. Even though I get paid a lot of money to do this in the medical industry, I still want to be appreciated. I'm human, just like everybody else.
We all do.
I love that. When was the last time you were thanked for being ahead of school, Lance?
We just had Grandparents' Day here last Friday, and we have amazing grandparents, and they were very generous with their thanks. So
good.
My favorite ones are when kids, because kids know here that I'm a coffee snob. So when they just drop off a coffee on my desk, that stuff really matters. I appreciate that.
That's cool. It'd be really bad if they all did it on one day, but
I probably could still drink it.
I love it. Well, this has been awesome. I was in with one final question for everybody here, and so that's always this. If you were to share one final piece of advice, could be anything for the school leaders listening, what would your one final piece of advice be?
For school leaders, be intentional about loving your staff, and don't let them guess that you do. Be clear on it. Spend time with them. You are the boss and you are the leader, but they need to know that you care about them.
That's good. Lance, thank you obviously for taking time out of your day. As you got a lot on your plate. You're finishing up the year here. You got millions of dollars of building stuff going in and getting done. So you got a lot on your plate. Appreciate you taking time to talk to our listeners today, and wish you guys nothing but the best as you continue to grow and educate the next generation.
Thank you for your time.
Well, another huge shout out and a thank you to our guests for taking time and being on the podcast today. I love the people that I get to interview in this podcast. And as always, I'm hoping you guys are able to take at least one thing away from today's episode that you can take back to your school to make it better than it is right now. Before you guys go, I do want to make sure you are aware of our 3 free resources available here at School Success. And the first one is, of course, the podcast that you're listening to right now. We are dropping weekly episodes every single Monday morning. We want to make sure you guys aren't missing out. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you haven't left a 5-star review, we would love a 5-star review as well. The second one is on our website, schoolsuccessmakers.com. In the top right-hand corner is a button, School Success Report. You just click that and sign up for that. We send it directly to your inbox every single week. It's full of different articles our team has either found or written to help you, the school leader, be more successful. And last but not least is our free Facebook community called School Success Makers. It's an awesome place. I'm personally in there. I'd love to see you in there as well. Get some good community around you, ask questions, and just have some fun. So make sure you are joining our free Facebook community. We'd love to see you in there. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. We'll be back here next week with another awesome guest as usual on the School Success Podcast. We'll see you then. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Herzog Foundation.